then we move on to the house of crystallization and enduring leadership, and then that is Saturn is now entering Aries, which is in your 8th house, and that means that you would be Virgo rising. Virgo would be on your, let me just go back here. Virgo is on your 1st house. So yeah, so the 8th house in the star number system is the house of crystallization and enduring leadership, and I can just say that I have a little bit of a different perspective on the houses, and that's because the star number system came during meditation. So I have created a PDF file that is free for you to get if you are interested in what the meaning of each of the 12 houses is according to this system. And you can get that by signing up for my newsletter, and you can find that link on my description, channel description. So you're welcome if you would like that. But anyway, so this is where, in this 8th house, that is where things take shape. And it is associated with Saturn, which is the number 8. And that is, of course, about structure, leadership, ambition, consistency, discipline, patience, long-term vision, and the relationship with time. And so this house is about building something that is lasting. So of course here we also have an interesting dynamic, because your 8th house is the energy of Saturn, and now Saturn is entering this house. So that is already there, something really exciting for you, because the energy that is entering into this or has entered is naturally resonating with this part of your life. So Aries here has always been and will always be your natural tool for this house, of course. Oh, sorry. Goodness me. And so for Virgo rising, Aries has always been and will always be the natural tool for your 8th house. And so that is the courage to lead by doing, the fire to persistently work through the work again and again. And there's a directness of somebody who just shows up and does it, even if it's a little bit uncomfortable. And it's how this direct, passionate, bold energy of Aries, that is how you actually naturally create things that last. So your leadership has always been very brave and committed, and there's a consistency about it, and it is the way that you actually build. And so what happens during this transit is that the Saturn energy is entering into the arena that already have this energy also. But Saturn is that area that is structure and leadership and discipline and long-term growth. And that is profound, that there is this double activation, because Saturn is also naturally the planet in this house that is associated with this house, right? So over the coming years, this will be a super powerful transit for you, because you are now really getting hammered in here that you are to build something that lasts. And so Saturn entering this house of crystallization, where the Aries fire is carrying your initiative, now these conditions are then extremely good for creating something real. So any project that you have been working on for some time now can really see them taking that final durable form, get really crystallized. Leadership roles that you have been growing into can now be fully claimed. Like it makes this work that you're doing here with your structure and your leadership and the way you act, it makes it very real and present, and very purposeful and focused and aimed, and something like aimed at something that you can really hold physically in your hand, like, so things really get pulled into 3D reality right now as Saturn is here. And of course, Aries as a tool, you always have that courage and persistence to push through. But since Saturn now doubles down on the structure and patience and long-term vision, then you are in this moment where you really can build to last, right? And Saturn in Aries is the number 98, but 98 in numerology adds up to 17, so 9 plus 8 is 17, and 17, 1 plus 7 is 8. So of course there is part of 98 is 17, and 17 is the energy of inspired creation. It brings in the dreams and vision, which is 7, and that is getting expressed with self-expression and generosity and giving freely, which is the number 1. And that means that to take something that is imagined and just share it out and express it, that also means in a way taking the stage. So it's also about stepping up and tuning into what is your dreams and wishes. And for you in the 8th house, that also could mean that your inspired vision of what is worth building is now real. So you need to also tune in to what is it that you really want to bring forward. You might have put in place structures and taken leadership and having direction, but have you prioritized? Have you really, maybe you even have prioritized, but the thing is, you need to make sure that it's also resonating with you in the sense that it is something that has meaning for you, that is part of a dream you have. So, because that is the 17, it has to be something that is somewhat of a dream as well, that you want to structure and create and crystallize into reality. So the energy of 8, which is the resulting energy, is of course when you really nail it, then that is when Saturn meets this Aries-driven already leadership and structure. And what is unfolding then will be the finalization of the crystallization. It's clarity, it is confidence, it is leadership, it is something taking shape. And more than what you have already maybe been brave enough to do, now you can truly claim to become that leader that others can lean on and look to, and somebody that has that is earning that leadership role because of their consistency and their showing up. So what you're about to build now will probably last for the long haul, I would say, and it can be both structures that you're building, but it can also be the way that you show up as a structure in yourself, like as a leader. And then I have this affirmation for you. It says, I welcome structure and long-term vision into my long-term building. I have always known how to lead by doing and persist through the work. Now I let my inner vision shape what is worth crystallizing for the long term. I commit, I show the way, and I feel a deep clarity and confidence, knowing that what I am building is real, lasting, and meant to inspire others. That's it for you. And then we move. I just wanna have the last word here is that just to remind you about this architecture of Saturn in Aries. is that Saturn is, of course, the area of this long-term building, structure, and leadership, while Aries is the tool to apply to that area, and that is the tool of being courageous and persistent in taking action, and having some passion and drive. And so then when you apply this passion and drive and being courageous to this structure building and to your leadership, then what you end up with is crystallization and clarity and confidence. And so your dreams are then ready to take form that is lasting, and you have the courage to give them shape, and the clarity and confidence will meet you on the other side. So I hope that is helpful for you, and like and subscribe if you will, and don't if you don't, and then I will maybe see you again. Thank you. Bye. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Over the next many years, from 2025 to 2028, Saturn is moving through Aries, and I am going to talk to you today about how this transit affects each of you according to your rising sign. Depending on where Aries sits in your chart, it will have an influence on your energy that Saturn has now moved into this area of your chart. But first, I can say that I'm talking from the star number system, which is my own system, It's not really my own. It's a system that I have received during meditation over the last about 3 years. And it's kind of like a new way of interpreting astrology and numerology and so on. It's like a mix of the two. So let me take you through this transit using this system that I have received. So I won't take the credit for it, actually. That's probably too much. So between 2025 and 2028, Saturn moves through Aries in the... Oh, let me just do this so I can better see. So between 2025 and 2028, Saturn moves through Aries. And in the star number system, Saturn is the area of life that holds your structure, your leadership, ambition, consistency, discipline, and long-term growth. And also, of course, overall, it's also your relationship with time. So this is where you build things that lasts, where you commit for the long haul, and where you become steady and dependable as a leader, so that and a leader that others can lean on. So this is Saturn, which is the number 8. And then Aries, I look at Aries as the tool that will be used in this area of life. So Aries as a tool carries the energy of the number 9, which is courage, determination, persistence, stamina, compassion, and unstoppable drive to show the way by doing. It is really truly an area of life where we have a lot of drive, but also where it's not by telling people what is right and what is wrong, but really showing by doing. And so Aries is a fire sign, you could say. So it is also about taking action and initiating. So it's brave and self-reliant and confident. And when you use Aries as a tool, you will then lead by example, and you will take action with purpose and on your purpose, and you will move forward with conviction. So bringing these two energies together in the star number system, that brings about the number 98. So if we then follow this numerological journey, then 9 plus 8 is 17. And 17 we reduce again, because we can say 1 plus 7 is 8. And so the resulting energy is 8. and that takes us back to the kind of the Saturn energy itself. And that is the thing about being in Aries, that it kind of returns its original energy to itself, but it actually goes through another energy in the process. So it adds another element. And so that return to the number 8 then is resulting in what we can say is crystallization. It's things taking shape, it's clarity, it's becoming it's becoming tough in a new way, because you've gone through kind of like a crystal. It takes a lot of pressure for a crystal to become a beautiful crystal, and in the same way we become tough when we go through things. And it is also about showing the way, inspiring others. It's about feeling confident, determined, and also it is highly connected, the number 8 is highly connected to being successful as well. So there is this intermediate number 17, and that is what makes number 98 so interesting, because it's not just that you have the area of life, the number 8, and then with this way of working with that, which is the 9. No, there's another energy in between, which is 17, before you actually get to the result. And 17 has therefore its own meaning in this journey from 9 to 8 to 8. And so 17 is the energy of inspired creation. So it's about bringing your dreams and inner vision into form through bold expression, self-expression, you could say. The intermediate number 17 has its own meaning along this journey from 9 to 8 and 98 to 8. And 17 is the energy of inspired creation. It's basically about bringing your dreams and inner vision into form through bold self-expression. So when you act with courage on this work that is, you can say, the work that you're doing, which is where you're in it for the long haul in a way. When you act with courage on that work, then because 8 is about taking steady, taking consistent action. It's about consistency and keep moving on something. It's like compounding, if you've ever heard of that. And so that is just putting in the work day in and day out. But when you act on courage with that, but also have this element of, you have to remember what is your dreams and what is your inner vision, at the same time as you have to also use your self-expression and truly put yourself into it, something that you're excited about. Then you're kind of bringing together this stretch where your dreams and visions are taking visible form, and they do that through this brave and persistent creation. So from there you then end up with the number 8 again, and that is, as I mentioned before, it's this crystallization and clarity, and also inner confidence. The confidence that you gain from taking the steps and daring to really be brave, and also putting yourself out there. And it also, in this case, daring to do it through your own, through putting yourself out there. So this is a powerful combination. And Saturn is really the area for this long-term building. It's about structure and leadership, while Aries is the tool of being courageous and being also persistent in the action. It kind of have a similarity there with Saturn, right? There is a persistence and determination in both the number 8 and 9. And then the resulting energy is that when you then do this right, when you kind of do what the energy is asking you to do, then you kind of bravely commit to building something real and show up day after day with this discipline, and also at the same time you remember that it has to resonate with your dreams and wishes, and you have to in some way self-express, then you will end up with this deep clarity and confidence. So that is, you could say, it's even like this way of having earned satisfaction, knowing that your work is taking shape over time, right? So you slowly see the progress. And so in this transit, when Saturn is in Aries, then that is then impacting everybody, because everybody has Aries somewhere in their chart, and Saturn is the energy that is then moving through these areas of our lives and brings in this energy and a collaboration between the Aries tool and the area of Saturn. And so we will all feel this shift towards courageous, disciplined building, and also towards leadership that steps forward and leads by example and demonstrate what is possible through consistent, brave action. So over these next 3 years, many people will feel that growing urge to commit to some long-term project, and something that actually truly matters, something that is grounded in a personal dream perhaps, or a personal vision even. And so bring something that truly matters about, right? Get it into 3D reality, not just having it as a dream in the ether forever. Maybe it's something that has been considered for a long time, but that you haven't really been daring to take action on. And now here comes this Aries energy and says, you have to be courageous. Now go do it. And put yourself out there in a way, right? And so then in that way you will enable your dream to take a real, tangible, lasting shape, right? That's really what's in the mix over these next 3 years. So it's super exciting. It is really an exciting period and super cool with Saturn in Aries. So we can really move forward and on our dreams and wishes, you could say. So the key message then is of Saturn in Aries is through this star number system, that you are willing to commit with courage, and whatever it is that you're committing to with courage will then crystallize and take shape and come into being. So that is a super big promise, and that is of course something that you have to kind of bring with you now and feel like, oh wow, this is actually an amazing power. So what do I really want to commit to and be bold about, and what do I really want to see crystallize? If you could choose something specific in your life that in 3 years from now, and by the time Saturn leaves Aries, that you can see that you have made this dream real, what dream would that be? And then find the courage within yourself to go for it. That is really the message here. So being bold is not just about having the spark and having this idea and a good intention and I'll do it tomorrow. No, it's actually about being bold enough to take action today, and being bold enough to take action every day, so it becomes a structure you put in place for yourself and thereby crystallize it. So be brave enough to start and persistent enough to keep going. That is really what is gonna make your dreams come true over the next 3 years, and depending on when you listen to this, over the years to come. And this is, of course, an energy you will have with you forever because you've been through this energy. So you'll know how to do it, how to be persistent and keep going. Okay, and then you have to trust that when you lead through a consistent, courageous action, that you will build something that is real and lasting. And that in that way, that is the cool thing about Aries, is that when you really use this idea of Aries, like when you use the energy of the 9, which is Aries, then you actually, you are showing the way. You do give others a permission slip to be just as cool as you. Okay, so so the formula is this. So Aries is 9 and Saturn is 8, and so that in the star number system that is 98, which reduces to 17, which reduces to 8. And so the tool is the way you should act. If you bring out your toolbox, then this tool now is to be courageous, persistent, determined, and take action towards something that you're passionate about. And then in this area of life, you should do that in the area that is connected to your structure, your leadership, your discipline, long-term growth. And so when you do that, and also remember that in between, remember to put your dream into whatever it is you want to grow long-term. And then when you do that, then you will end up with something that is crystallized, it's clear, it's confident, it's real, it's tangible, and you are showing the way. All right, so in the coming sections, then we go through each of the houses, because it affects everybody a little bit differently depending on their rising sign. A rising sign, Aries, is always in your specific house. It doesn't change houses. Like let's say your Aries rising, then Aries is always going to be your first house. And so that's the tool you have available to maneuver with your first house, and then Pisces in your second house, for instance. So that is always the natural tool for that house setting for your specific rising sign. But and remember that for that area of your life that we're going to go through now, then there's a fire and courage and directness in that arena of your life. So, and that is part of how you operate, or how you at least ought to operate, how you should operate. And so what is new, what is actually the only new thing for you now, is that the energy of Saturn is coming into this arena. And that means that suddenly this arena of your life is being presented with this Saturn energy, which is structure and discipline and long-term vision. But in the fact that it comes into the Aries part, it gives it lights up this energy that is different from when it goes into other areas, right? Saturn is not equal in all sign. It doesn't act in the same way in every sign it goes into, because it triggers something specific. And here, for instance, it triggers that you not only have the long-term vision of Saturn and the drive and passion and directness of Aries. No, the two combined gives this magical influence of 17, which is also about tapping into your dream and putting yourself out there, taking the stage a little bit, right? And so yeah, so that is kind of what is going to be new in your specific area of your life in that way. So let's go through it. Let's start with Aries then. In the house